This is Mindustry PvP. I am Lorifeticus, and losing makes me grumpy. I get real grumpy lately. This game is particularly bad for me. I found multiple ways to lose in the same game and ended up real grumpy. The start's not so bad though. I got enough coal, there's some water around, although not near this coal. So start out with 2 monos to get the lead and copper safe. You need the silicon coming in to feed those, but it's a real full game. There's a lot of players around. Terran is to the north of me, YS is to the south. There's some people all around the edge. Silicon starts out with first, get the monos going, then get a steam generator up for some power, then start working on the thorium to move up to air blasts. And this stuff's all for graphite. Graphite is second. I need a cheap, low capacity version of all the basic resources to start out with. And once this is taken care of, I'm gonna need glass and I'm gonna need titanium. And then hopefully at that point I'll be ready to put up another steam generator, and that'll pay for the first larger silicon, which is 3 times as much. Pretty much every time you step up in construction intensity, you want to be doubling or tripling what you've been making. And you don't want to do that step up too quickly because it's more expensive to build the bigger things and you might, run yourself out and then end up stuck. How do you always know when I'm recording? You have been asleep for hours. So, I've got a reputation for being very aggressive, and I've spawned near some players. In this game, I'm trying to subvert expectations by not playing into that. So, I'm expanding towards the middle instead of going towards Terran. I can't really go south because I've got thick wall barriers all the way down that way. So it's actually sort of cutting off my options. I also didn't finish my dagger factory when I first started. I didn't put the lead in, so I delayed my initial daggers quite a bit. So there should be more of them working on that barbarian encampment. This game ends up being really big, filling up the whole map with stuff, several very large player bases. It made me think of when I used to play a lot of Civilization V. So purple, I guess I'm the Romans. Should be more aggressive in this ancient and classical era, but I did not read I did not listen to the Oracle when the Oracle said you need to be real aggressive in the ancient era. And I paid the price for it by eventually losing. I haven't really come up with any better coal patches, and since I'm stuck in the same hex, I'm doing the bigger silicon here in place. There is enough open sand space to place it, so I can actually get that done. The later problem from this placement is it's very close to the hex directly above me, and I'm not going to fight for that hex, so Terran's going to take it and end up messing with me from that direction, and I won't have much I can do about it. But hey, upgrading mechanical drills to air blast, that's nice. Yeah, everybody else at this point has 3 hexes taken, and I just got my first one. I am expecting that I'm going to need salvos and thorium ammo for those. That's the defensive plan, so that's why I'm putting up more thorium. Though even though I had that thought, I'm going to fail to execute it by not getting enough of the other ingredients needed to make salvos, such as graphite and titanium, and I'm going to end up not being able to build enough of them. So yeah, I looked at that happening there, and I didn't realize that those were pink daggers that were taking that, and not mine. Whoops. So that's me not having that hex. And not really having many daggers saved up. So fighting for it is a dumb waste. Doing it anyway. Yeah. Well, I haven't fallen as far behind playing Serpulo as I used to. Trying to build the unloader on there, that was me finally realizing that, oh, this is not actually mine. Pink and purple are different colors. Pink is what in Civilization? Spain? Rome versus Spain? Sure. But I can put some salvos up, and that would keep me safe from daggers, which is what's normally around and happening, and fine. I do need more graphite. It is nice that all that stuff is in sight range, so I can see if he starts moving pretty quickly as long as I remember to keep checking. That is the support schematic. Oh, yeah, here he comes. So, Salvo, do your job. Good job, Salvo. Unmender, make it a little safer. Great. But he's going to start building into that, which is going to be miserable. So I'll have much better luck expanding in the other direction. There are other players in that direction, so maybe there's something to worry about, but I haven't seen it yet. The threat you've seen versus the one you haven't. There's Atraxes. People just started using those recently. They are strangely tanky and effective, although with 3 salvos versus 5 of them seems to do okay, which is nice. I'm not quite sure what the best early response to them is. And in the upper left, there was a glimpse of some blue from Old Pence, or someone is that way. So Terran's got people on both sides. He's in a rough position. Yeah, so that schematic, that is going to make polys, pulsars, and horizons, all for sort of tactical purposes. The build speed, the free shields, and horizons are nice for blowing up ground units. Theoretically, they're good at blowing up Atraxes, and the Atraxes can't fight back. But it takes a lot of bombs, and they don't do sustained fire. They do their, like, swoopy fly-around pattern, which sucks. But yeah, with the Atraxes building up, I need even more of these things. And there it is, going after my one larger silicon, which is going to be a problem. So yeah, let's use the bombers on that, see how that goes. Like blew up one and then they stopped. the V7 unit control system has been terrible for bombers. They don't do any opportunistic bombing if there happens to be a target under them, and they still do the swoop around pattern, and then as soon as whatever they're killing dies, they just stop. They don't do anything. So, yeah, I need a new silicon. This should be the second one, but I probably don't have much hope of keeping that first one alive reliably. Also, I did the belt wrong, so that's not even gonna be producing for a while. And that graph into, yeah, that's set up. That's sort of clogged. This low capacity, that sucks. Well, I'll try and get some platinum. Do want overdrive domes. That'd be nice. Oh, and I didn't take the combustion generators off that either. Whatever. Get more space. I do need to be going up to my next power plant size. I've forgotten to build more glass. That's going to be a problem. Another thing done wrong. I don't have enough glass to build this. Now I noticed that I need glass, and I gotta find somewhere to put it. Yeah, the bombers, I can't snipe anything out. There's all shields on that, so I'd need to send something first to take the shield down. Or hit some power nodes outside and hope that the polys don't rebuild in time. I want my flares. Flares are my crutch. Nice resource neutral flare factories that I don't even have to worry about running out of power because they're self-powered. Where did I see? I saw someone had, oh yeah, there's flares to my south now. What, the dark blue? That's America in civilization colors. America is below me. YS, Washington. Oh, I don't know who the civilization leader of Spain is in that one. Failed education. And, okay, well, so they take out the thorium air blast and it stops getting ammo to things. The horizons sort of help recover that, but then I gotta worry about scatters are a thing, and they'll just keep getting rebuilt, so shooting them doesn't do anything. Really, the air blast back up. Hope the air blast back up. Incidental building versus building. I didn't start that. Now there's these things over here. Hopefully the horizons will help with that instead of just standing there doing nothing. There are a lot of members there keeping up, and the water helps. It's not great, but I'm not failing horribly yet. Be nice if I could finish some of these schematics. Yeah, all those flares are still down there. These scatters that I put down aren't enough to stop that many flares, but they're not attacking anyway. Glass is still a problem. More Atraxes. I've been lulled into thinking that I've got enough to do things against Atraxes. The problem is that salvos are single target. There's no area of effect, so they do not scale against hordes in the way that some other things do, like arcs or lancers or fuses. So look at all these Atraxes over here. That's a problem. You should worry about that. Are you worrying about that Caesar Omega ship? Well, this will make salvo ammo? Is that what that's for? What are you building that? Yeah, okay. You think you're making salvo ammo. There's another thing going for the Atraxes is all the mobility. The flares, what good are they going to do? Well, they can take the hex those were on, but not fast enough to get an attrition rate on them. You can't block the shots. You know, needed to disperse or something. But that had my good power plant, so there's no sense in continuing. And now it's time for the big grump. What's left? So, YS is America to the south. Terran is pink Spain. And there's Solo, and there's Eastern Europeans in the upper left corner. Grumpy, so grumpy. Given enough time, I can recover from this discomfort, but immediately after losing, I'm in a bad mood. Puts me in a bad mood. But I'm not done playing for the day, so you should do the invite. And there still might be, actual game to be had, contributing in that way. So there I am. Now I'm a worker for Spain, Spanish Empire, and trying to not be a bad worker. So rule number 1 of being on someone's team and not trying to sabotage them is don't run them out of resources by building the wrong thing or too big a thing. So I show up, I see there's not much power. Let's build a modestly priced power plant. No, I see he doesn't have platinum. He's gonna need platinum. Needing platinum is short-circuiting rule number 1, in that I'm not paying attention to the graphite cost. So, whoops, I'm already a bad teammate running him out of graphite. Well, or maybe secretly my grumpiness is expressing itself as sabotage. But I don't think it was. I think I was actually trying, which is worse. Well, I'm getting... Everybody else is getting better faster than I am, and I can't keep up. I really can't keep up on Erekir. I am trash on Erekir now. Like, half the speed of everyone else this season. That's the way to make me real grumpy is trying to play Erekir. So, some graphite factories. Another thing for a civilization worker to do, improve infrastructure in the backfield. Like, all of this is opening stuff, and this could be replaced with air blasts and better factories and bigger factories. So, sure. In a game of this size, density actually ends up mattering. So, playing tall by redeveloping earlier hexes makes a lot of sense. It's a useful thing for me to do. Let's do it. Put down some roads, put down some mines and farms and whatever. No, it's too early for railroads. We're like medieval age right now. That's where we are. Medieval Spain should be, doing well. It was what? Red to the left in the upper left corner? I guess that's like Poland? Alright, so America versus Spain versus Poland, civilization and Mindustry. That's what we're doing. And making room for a plastanium belt. not paying attention to any of the fighting. Hopefully Terran's doing a good job. I guess he's the general. He's the king. Or whatever. There might be a queen in that version of Civilization, I don't know. Terran is the queen of Spain in this game. That's what's happening. Even if not the way the game is, it's the way I say now. Terran is the queen of Spain. Skirting gas pretty low. Looking for glass, not gas. Watching too many StarCraft 2 matches? They only had 2 resources. How easy is that to just manage 2 resources? Dang. That doesn't fit. Stop trying. Okay. Well, I guess if you're trying to play dense, then yeah, it makes sense to rearrange things a little bit to make it fit anyway. Square peg meet round hole. Here we go. If I used a titanium belt for that, it would be slightly stalled. So the reason, no. Yeah, thorium is low for some reason. I haven't been using it for much of anything, so I don't know what Dude Man is doing elsewhere to put it low like that. He ran it out. Where is all the thorium going? Yeah, that's one of the stranger things about playing on a team in a actual environment where you're trying to cooperate with someone is, unless you are like in voice comms coordinating what you're doing, you're gonna run out of thing when the other person needs it, grab the army when they need it, that sort of thing. Especially with like the sloppiness of the implementation of like the select all army, or maybe I just want all zeniths, so I select all army and then select only zeniths, but there's a little bit of lags, so you give an order and it gives it to everything anyway. It's not responsive for the high APM community. Not that I have any ability or desire to be a high APM player. I don't even bother with hotkeys. I can't, it's the muscle memory is in the menu locations already. I would be adding items to move the menu around would ruin me. How awful would that be? Jeez. Let's make a bigger power plant. And trying to make one off core because that's necessary for playing dense. Like my usual and lots of everyone's usual core unload, core unload, core unload. If you're a sandy core player, then you do even more of that. I'm not a sandy core player. There's 2 major economy styles. You either load sand and coal into your core and have a lot of schematics that unload those things and then make silicon or whatever. Or if you've got anything doing sand and coal, you either source it from a patch or you use extractors or oil press or whatever else to get it. Everything that uses sand uses such a high volume that forcing it to go through unloaders is extra, that's a bottleneck you don't need. And being a sand and coal core player forces you to track several more resource amounts that, like, oh, well, in addition to needing any of the other resources or power, I may also need more sand or coal. And then you have to go find those things and build them. Not that they're hard to find, but you still have to, open the schematic book and do a little of this and a little of that. That style of play generally comes from players that come from conventional PvP, because there's hex players and assimilation players back from like V6 and V5, and they tend to not be sand and coal in the core. And then there's the people that played like ranked and 1v1s and stuff with static maps, and a lot more of the time those players are used to doing sand core and unloading for their silicon construction and stuff. I'm not quite sure why. It might even just be they're approximately the same power, and the better players in each of those different metas chose one or the other, and then everybody else copied onto it, and that's just what they learned and they don't want to change. Seems plausible. 2,000 silicon at this point in the game is pretty low. Uh-oh, here comes Polish Hussars. Zenith equivalent, whatever. I don't know if Terran saw that to do anything about it, or if I was the first one to see it, but that was a frantic emergency select all to try and do something. Luckily, it didn't actually go for any cores. Like, they're doing damage, and they're costing stuff, but none of this is hard to recover from. Like, you can just B-swipe and put it all back, or even leave the polys to rebuild it. I mean, this all being on fire, that's not great. This is a very flammable power plant. We want a big firefighting brigade here. No, there's no fire stations in civilization. There's police stations. So, urban authority infrastructure in the form of tsunamis, and there might have been groundwater near there. I didn't even look. So, I guess the next phase of being a good teammate, don't run out of resources by doing like unit core unload schematics to the point that you run out of silicon. Silicon is a meme for a reason. It's because people set things up to pull out all the silicon to make their cool units, and then, well, all the silicon's bye. Bye-bye. So that's this thing. This thing only pulls lead, titanium, and thorium. It powers itself. It makes its own silicon and graphite and glass. So it's a Zenith factory. And it's set up to expect to put a dome nearby. And then you get a nice domed Zenith factory with very little overhead elsewhere in the game, and you don't have to worry about externalities as much as long as you're mining enough thorium and titanium. A lot of time you can fit 3 or 4 of these in one hex, and then you can dome it all. And there's the defensive schematic that I've built for sort of internal defenses. You put a fuse close to the core. It's going to have dome on it. It's going to have water cooling. It's got the good ammo, surges, and the water tsunami for the higher damage. So long as you're paying attention and you can summon your Zenith reserves when you get attacked, then you have a pretty good chance of being able to defend that. And then the mass driver, that takes surge. And the point of that is I have another defensive outpost that takes the mass driver as input and has tsunami and swimmers and whatever. And that's supposed to increase the total surface area of swimmer coverage, so it makes it harder to like dive in between cores to go deeper, because you'll take fire from one of the outposts even if you don't go near a core. That's the plan. Sometimes placing one of these, you gotta move the sand drill a little bit. Usually you don't. There's enough like sort of rotation options that you can find something that fits. And then I just, put some menders in, fill it in with walls, make it an extra tough target. Oh yeah, there's the auxiliary outposts. So that'll stop things from coming around the edges or trying to void around. Even with life support attrition that kills units that travel too far from a friendly core, it's still like it doesn't kill everything, it kills a fraction of them. So if they send a big enough army, then a big enough army will arrive even to the distant back line away from safety. We're on the border with Poland, right over there, and it looks weird. That almost looks like it needs to, like there's a power problem and they're working on a kickstart. That schematic, like that might be hand swarmers for some reason? I don't know. Something looks weird over to the left. Another problem with recording games that I'm playing is you only get one perspective. There's important stuff going on elsewhere in this game that I got no look at because I'm not like focusing on going to look at interesting stuff. I have to build zeniths like a good worker. I've got to put up these walls and barracks and military bases and coastal fortresses and all of these city improvements to, crank out the good veteran tier units. What was that? Fifth one of those? Dummy me, I haven't noticed there's no phase. I would have phase for myself at this point because I built it after my 7 diff unloader. But there's no phase here. Oh. Maybe there is some? Well, there's not enough phase. Yeah, okay, so I did build one phase factory. That is not forgotten. It's all going somewhere, and I don't know where. Definitely don't have enough. Yeah. So these Polish frontiers look sort of strange and unpowered and not defended. Maybe going that direction would be a good idea. I think America attacked there. YS is Washington. Sometime earlier, like every now and then I'll look at a map and get a glimpse of something going on elsewhere. There's an empty core. I should take that. 4 zeniths could do it. Free core. It's free real estate. Spain loves free real estate to the east. There's just people there without gunpowder. Come on. They might even have gold. Nobody in Mindustry has gold. Oh, graphite shortage. Do something about a graphite shortage. The ratios for that aren't right, but I don't care because all that stuff is cheap at this point in the game. We have a nice quarter of the map. That's pretty good. Poland is now replacing their poor infrastructure with much larger and more significant infrastructure. Those are some vulnerable impact reactors. They will be going for that in the future, especially in the way that like taking those out tends to cascade a power outage in the entire base. Yeah, and the stuff that helps build is going to get there, and that'll all go up faster. But if I could have gotten the player unit out, oh yeah, it's the big fun of assassinating a player unit while they're trying to build a fort. and then taking the hex out from under them. That's the good big fun. You always enjoy that moment. Yeah, I built that a little too far away from the mass driver and couldn't hook it up. Yeah, there's 2 mass drivers in the intermediate outpost, so I can chain a bunch of those together. Here's an attempt at a mega trap, and look how garbage parallaxes are that 9 of them can't pull in a mega. It just got away. Why bother? So I guess this is going to be a front line, and I've decided to put the fuses here. Oh. And interestingly enough, I'm giving, yeah. Okay, so I give that titanium for ammo, even though thorium is better, because then it also goes into the cryo mixer. That's a busted schematic that I've actually gone back and fixed since then, because one of the fuses doesn't even get ammo. Gotta be more careful. What are you trying to fix now? Titanium's low. More titanium. And I want to mess around with some ground units. I'm going to drop a fortress factory soon. I remember that. Okay. There's blue stuff down there. There's what looks like a zenith blob of sizable proportion. Out of titanium. Take that down and put air blast there. Do it. Take that down and put air blast there. Come on. Oh, don't worry about the glass. You've got 14,000. Having megas mining would also do well here. But yeah, I think I want to put some kind of defense. Huge pile of Atrax is just sitting around. That's all outdated. You need to take down those city walls and replace it with military base. Yeah. Upgrade that city to a metropolis. Town to a city to... I don't remember what the nouns were. It's got a dome now, so... just take the overdrive projector off the phase factory there, since it's redundant. The projectors use more phase than the domes. You want to take those down when you can if you increase dome coverage. That's vulnerable. Go get it. 2 swarmers? We can thread this needle easy. Go, 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 go. Can we capitalize on it though? Well, you can die. And then you can get there before stuff respawns, which is cool. Any rebuilding they do is wasted. And then we got a nice score in the middle there. Now if I could have gotten back there, that would have been nice, but that'll all be rebuilt and just be a distraction. Oh well. Terran's working on the south front. If anything goes wrong in the south front, it's his fault. You should be paying attention to that. Although that still counts as me losing if he blows it. And then, I'm probably more resistant to getting grumpy if I'm going to lose at this point in the game. Because now I'm invested, and it's probably not going to go in a like, oh, you missed something dumb and obvious, you stupid moron, go pout. I'm probably not going to do that at this point. I mean, we really It'd be great to be putting up some T4 or 5, but there's just not the space for it. Everything's already built up with reasonably important things. Ooh, there's the fortress factory. So that's just gonna cheaply take pot shots at whatever happens to be in range. Especially if you can like use it to take out some walls that draw in rebuilding support units, and then you can parallax trap those. That's a good thing to do, and it doesn't take much attention once it's set up. Oh no, my outpost is wasting the titanium. We're not really in a shortage on that. I do need to be looking for more places to put phase. It would be nice to have a lot more phase at this point. So much a lot more, but nope. We're generally pretty okay on resources. America is tacking to the right, and Terran is in the middle doing something. I don't know what Terran's doing. I think he's attacking Poland. So, yeah, emergency. We need to do things about this. We need to take away the life support for that fleet, and we need to try and keep it pushed off of cores, which I should have tried to get in front of that instead. But it is pretty much all gone, and we've got a good amount of Zeniths left still. Those will go down. So now all of this needs rebuilt. That was real expensive. Luckily, America spent their entire Air Force doing it, so they're going to need time to build back up, and that gives us time to build back up. So, get all these polys on rebuild, and a bunch of it will come back. And, yeah, platinum is the thing to look out for. All that rebuilding is going to run us out of platinum. So be on the lookout for new platinum. How many of those Zenith factories are we up to now? We've got a good income of Zeniths. The Ministry equivalent of like mechanized infantry. It defends, it holds ground, it attacks, it does everything. Yeah, get more platinum. Come on, do it. Yeah, sure, it's not a full... Oh, it was the one sand that was making me hesitate. Yeah, that's fine. Do a little adjustment. Spend a little bit of that APM to make it fit in the building tall. You have to make compromises on the aesthetics of your schematics if they're going to fit in somewhere with ores that aren't quite right. And I gotta worry about this thing potentially clogging. That's fixed. Good. Looks like our rebuilding from the American bombing run is complete. That's nice. Factory's working well. Impacts. I don't like impacts. I don't like that they're there. They're temperamental. If something goes wrong, then they just make it go wrong even harder. If the server gets real laggy, which, like, the server that this runs on is the best possible hardware configuration to put a Mindustry server on. Like, it's single threaded, so you don't need additional cores. You just need single cores of, the best x86 you can get. And you need like 2 gigabytes of RAM per server. That's all you need. And you can't do any better than that because there's no more threading, there's no more need for memory, and Java garbage collection, whatever. But when the games get real big on the Eviction server, that is pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the Mindustry engine. Like, there'll be 2,000 or 3,000 units out, there'll be buildings all over the place. And when that happens, the server frames per second drops. And when that happens, it makes it more likely for the impact reactors to just fail on their own. And then you're stuck. Like, just build thorium reactors or more of these diff-gen things. Don't put yourself in extra risk. Like, the thorium reactors are a lot more reliable than the impacts. Alright, and there's my camping fortresses. They are terrible wind shields because they do mostly area damage and the shields block that. Oh well. So I think the plan is to move them over here. And I can put them in the range of repair towers for extra survivability, which is nice. I don't want them in the range of turrets anyway. Whoops, forgot the... Yeah, I have to... The schematic has that on blast to start with instead of thorium. Because sometimes when you're building it in the order, you'll end up with the reactors built before the coolant, and then it'll blow itself up, and that's a waste. I don't want that. So I wait until the schematic's finished, then I turn on the power plant fuel. We'll add some nice intermediate outposts to make dives against this territory harder. All the zeniths are going to the south for something. Poland is doing another major defensive upgrade. Those are star fortresses. Those are the big ones. And my fortresses shoot at those. Oh, and we can grab one. Can we kill 1 mega? Can we keep 1 mega maybe? Can we have that? We can kill 1 mega. Great. So that's just, 5% of the cost and effort investment returned. Killing 1 mega with all of those parallax. They really should be. They should have more pull. I don't care about the damage on them. That's like... Oh, fortresses. Let's go after those vulnerable impacts. They're expensive. Rebuilding them's expensive. Get them. They blow up real easy, although the dude is noticed. That's a bit annoying, but I'm building plenty of fortresses. This will be fine. And that stuff's not under shields. So that'll keep a bunch of these megas and polys and repairing and healing distracted and busy. Giving up on the impacts, I guess that's a win of some sort. America has expanded west, all the way to the coast of this Pangea. So that probably gives YS the most territory down there. I need to pay... Oh. Okay, well... I watched a bunch of stuff get built over here, so we'll do some attacking. Where am I going? Hey, okay. Get between the megas and the core. Go behind the fort. Takes it all out. There's some Antumbras there? Alright, so their damage sucks. Like, this little thing will slow down some Antumbras. And build fast, if I don't die. But I'd probably die. Those guys could get a little closer. This stuff doesn't have power anymore. Oh, that rebuilds. Meh. We can probably get in there before any of the unloaders even show up. Oh, but I got upgraded under him. The fastest 20,000 hit points you could add to any core. It's expensive, but it's instant. That's wrong. We'll kill that. Yeah. Well, how am I supposed to know he needs the things? I can't. You gotta tell me before you need them. Bad communication, not my fault. None of this is my fault. No, there's another American Air Force down there. Big and circular. Are the resources okay? How are the resources? Resources look okay. Phases stayed low the whole time. That's not great. Dude's rebuilding his stuff I just blew up. What was the point? Well, fortress harassment will continue until morale improves. Is that us? Yeah, that's us getting attacked. There's some fat Antumbras. Those are pretty much air vanquishes. The way that vanquishes get used on Erekir is just like their damage sucks, but they have a lot of armor and hit points, so you just drive them in front and try and get stuff to shoot them instead of stuff that's valuable. It is a low dignity roll. It's not even an intentional roll by anyone that might have been trying to do game design. But that's what air vanquish. It's big, it gets in the way, it has hit points. But hey, core explosion attrition has a chance of getting them too. And this is all recoverable now. If I can get some blockers in and I can get another defensive quarter in or some repairing. Kill that little thing. Kill that little thing before. See, they can body block too. At least when we're both fighting for it with full army, we're both taking the same hits. But we are getting to be at a territory disadvantage. The American industrial machine, in its distant, surrounded by oceans, landmass. Somehow we need like big intercontinental attack methods to try and put some threat down there. What else am I trying to do? What are you looking for? Oh, power. Yeah. Ooh. My ugly special baby, an RTG generator schematic. It makes as much power as the 15 thorium schematic that I use sometimes. And it does it on less thorium patch. Like you only need the one little bit of sand for the phase and 3x3 thorium. It's easier to fit than other power. Those zeniths are being flown, like that person is itching to make an attack somewhere. So we need to get our zeniths nearby in position to body block, push off, whatever. And there they go. Blue versus pink. Push them. Push them out of the way. Then, okay, well, never mind. How much is left? We can haul in more. I need to kill the player unit before he can build here. Oh, okay. And this is just a production race at this point. Like, whoever runs out of zeniths for reinforcement first ends up not being able to build here, and they're the one that lose the hex. Trying to build things under flying units is super obnoxious. Oh, and there's like 2 or 3 more people on the American team. And when you got a large amount of space, having additional players makes a huge difference. Like early game, having more players, you know, you got 2 hexes, there's not enough stuff for all these people to do. There's not a bunch of army that you need to do. You haven't built it yet. But if you've got fights happening in different places, and you've got all sorts of space available for upgrading, then having lots more players is a huge benefit. I grabbed these Atraxes for some reason. I don't know what they can do. They killed me, they must be good. Let's just use them to waste some ammo, whatever. Oh, they're surviving well. Oh, they killed the thing. Alright, so there you go. 181 Atraxes can take a pretty sizably defended hex. That's interesting. I don't know. Is anything even going to get here in time? It looks like yes. Right. Another piece of ground clawed back from those imperialist Americans. Oh, we've got stuff. Oh, that's phase. I want to repower that. Why didn't I notice that earlier? We want that phase. We need that phase. We're out of phase. It's causing problems. Reconnect that. Look to your left. I know, I didn't look to my left. When I'm playing a game, I can't hear the messages from myself while I'm recording the voiceover for the video later on. That would be a cool power. Like, that's some backseat playing I could get into. Look at this tank. This is doing the work. It doesn't even have phase for the dome, and it's still holding it off. Run, you cowards. Aha. Finish this. Sure. I should... Whenever you see surge swarmers close enough to a border that they will fire at ground that you can build on, it is a good idea to build like cheap walls or belts or something so that you'll waste their ammo, and then leave a few polys on rebuild and it'll waste their ammo forever. And that will show them that they shouldn't build swarmers that are in range of enemy territory, which is the core of building versus building, which is an immoral thing to do that everyone despises. And if you don't despise it, then you should go play on other worse Mindustry servers where they appreciate that sort of cultured perspective. Bring back my fortresses. I can shoot at these forts again. That'd be fine. So, of the other great countries that are left on this Pangea, Poland is the weaker one. And as also tends to happen in civilization games, when somebody gets weak in your late game and you know who the warmongers are, then they will go after the weak thing just as a matter of I want that land. We need this Polish land. We need it to build more Zeniths or T5s or something. We need it. Oh, I should be trapping those megas. Those are so close. I should be building phase. All our Zeniths are rallying south. Hopefully those actually get used. Oh, that poor mining mega. No! I want to mine the lead! Now I want copper. If he's mining lead and copper with megas, then something is weird in the Polish economy. And there's a power problem. Fortresses would work better when the shields are down. And we're at Zenith unit cap, even having built a number of foundations and nucleus around. So if you ever you need to be using those, or else all of these factories are worthless. Like, look at that big blob. Use that. It could absolutely go to the side. Maybe there's another 180 Atraxes built up that can break some ground down there. This may not be the most efficient use of my time. Well, I'm not in charge. It's not my fault. Yeah, alright, so we'll make some megas instead of these Zeniths that aren't making. Phase is not 0 anymore. That's nice, but it's really getting burned quick. I've been mostly putting down domes. I don't know what Terran does that burns phase so quickly. Like, is a huge amount of projectors with phase inputs? Is there Menders getting phase? But people don't really build forts like that anymore. Is there a phase incinerator somewhere that's just like for the memes? I didn't build it. Well, that was broken. Yeah, you place a fort wrong by one tile, and the unloader doesn't get built, and the whole thing's useless. Whoops. I should probably go back and look at the number of RTGs in that schematic. I don't know if it'll ever fill up. I get a lot of schematics. Like, I'm using stuff left over from V6 because it still works well enough. And that's another reason why you don't build impacts, because someone can dive straight for them and ruin all your power. And now we have a problem. Do we have a problem? Look at the power. Show me what the power is. Regaining batteries, those shield sizes are fluctuating. There's an inadvertent, nice thing about having shields all over the place is you have a good visual indicator of what your power is doing. Our power is having a problem. Oh, negative 70,000. That's bad. Negative 70,000 power is bad. It's all because impacts. Or if you're going to build them, arm the surroundings of them absolutely to the teeth, instead of leaving like 4 swarmers and some scatters or whatever else was of it. Yes, respond to that. Go. We're both responding, so I'm like losing the selection. That's should be enough zeniths around to hold it though. I don't think we had the power to restart that. That's vulnerable. There was just barely not enough left though. Rebuild, rebuild, rebuild. Well, I think we've lost a lot of polys, and that's one of the things going on. The megas are slowly showing up. More RTG power. This is not a good choice because it requires phase, and we don't have phase. Stop it. Stop it. It's not going to work. When are you going to realize this doesn't work? Maybe when it doesn't build any of the actual power plants in it. Was that when you realize? Yes. Now you see that you're a dum-dum. That's a problem. Okay. Defended. And if there's no power, then no thorium goes in. And you can't manually fill it. And we got a good, nice amount of thorium in the bank. But to get that into a power plant, I'd have to use an unloader. Because I had to turn on core deposit only because people were using too much of the Fuse client auto-loading, and it was trash. Like, don't bother with any logistics blocks. Just slap crap down, and then it'll auto-load everything. Easy. Had to get rid of that. And everyone has to suffer as a result. Had to do it on Erekir, too, which was miserable because one of the core parts of the meta was taking core silicon and using it to build the first tanks to take your second hex on Erekir. We can't do that anymore. Well, I mean, at least when they finish, they're actually making power now. Even emergency desperation phase, anywhere we can get it. American Air Force is now raiding into Poland, and the danger there is that all the territory they take from there becomes part of their economic engine, and if Poland gets eliminated, then we end up with like a land rush to try and get some of that space for ourselves and keep things even. We're so desperate for phase. Lagging the phase is cutting down the production rate on all the zeniths needed for reinforcements to try and recover from imperialist American aggression. He's wrong about that. It wasn't all game. For a lot of the game, we had like 300 phase. These fortresses are doing good work. I think the trap may have finally grabbed a lot of the megas away. So yeah, this is working. That's not working. Hooray! Progress against Poland. And this hex has nice thorium deposits, so build some phase there. I guess the power situation is resolved somehow. America and Poland are still fighting on the left, but Poland is losing. More phase. Build it. Although I have to take down some walls. It's fine, whatever. Stalled impacts. The true mark of failure. Because I need to build surge factories. Which I can, right here. That works. I don't know what it's off shooting at. Something's getting surge shot at it, because we're definitely not building T5. Alright. Poland has surrendered, so now we have to land rush. Fortresses won't be great usefulness for it. This territory over here, though. So if we take all of this, then we end up like half and half. Which is a pretty tall order, but maybe it's possible. But we don't really have the resource stockpile to do that much building. Yeah, no more domes. No more surge ammo. That's not good either. And they're building into theirs. Some of these are still undefended though. We are trying. And once things stabilize, there is space to convert these into eco cores. Cat, what the hell are you doing? There is nothing back there. Stop trying to get behind the desk. That's it. You're recruited. You have been conscripted into voiceover duty. Well, do some commentary on the game. It's very interesting. We're about to lose again. The mantle of Rome to be destroyed has been inherited by Spain, that also gets destroyed. Because we run out of resources. Surge is close to gold, so yes. Spain ran out of gold that it was extracting from the New World, and then had problems. Inflation? Those American attacks into the core, that's a problem. All of these things, although those smaller ones are kind of reasonable to take with not an absurd number of zeniths. But yeah, these gut punches on the right there, that's no good. And we are at diminished capacity to rebuild from any of that. Poly shortage. Too little, too late. Not finishing things before moving on to the next. That could be taken. Just push those Anhammers off the way. This could be powered. Reactors can be rebuilt. Something's weird with the placement on that one. And while this has been going on, we've lost the left. Look at the teams. How many Americans are there now? Oh, look at I shouldn't have looked. I shouldn't have been curious. There are so many thorium generators down there. Oof. How can we compete with that? Oh. How many was that? 4 players on the American team at this point. And all that space they can make use of. Slow decline into mediocrity, well on its way. Silicon is dropping fast, and that's happened because silicon crucibles were concentrated in a southern hex that is now unpowered and possibly destroyed. And silicon is gone. And silicon goes, and then surge goes. The Zenith production should still be reasonable, since they got all those self-powered factories. That's takeable. Well, there was a glimpse of the real silicon hex that, like, yeah, look at that. There's 12 crucibles there. Those used to be running and now they're not. That's why we're out of silicon. That could be reconnected. That was the way that polys rebuild. They don't necessarily reconnect all the power lines. And that can screw you over. So rebuilt hexes still need some manual attention. You can hit that. Yeah. We can take more ground, but that is not economically important, and we're not close to anything economically important. Do some rebuilding with no silicon. See how well that goes. I need to bring back like the opening game 2 silicon with mechanical drills. But there's so much deficit from stuff that's left unloading that, you need like 50 of those to even come back. Now to surge. Fuse is doing good work. When they actually have the unloading, then those can probably do a lot of damage. Terran is a little too quick to go to the sexual metaphors when trying to explain something. There's a whole wealth of human concepts and culture available for making metaphors that are not about boning in beds and whatever. Maybe try some of those. Oh, 10 more minutes and we can get to offward reinforcements, which would also go badly for us because we have on average less defense on each hex and we've got less hexes total, so America would be getting more free Antumbras than we would. Maybe if I, like, the impacts are back on, so maybe reconnecting all of those silicon crucibles in the lower right would actually make a difference. Maybe? I don't think we actually did it though. There's the desperation. You can fit one of those and get a tiny little bit of silicon, sure. Oh, there's the surrender. And we all die and burn. Now I lose again. Well, it doesn't feel as grumpy this time as the first one. Alright, well, it takes me days of recovery to be able to say so, but good game, everyone. I think I had more fun watching them than playing them, because I get grumpy when I play them. I have a personal problem in that way. It's a shame. Maybe I need to retire and just do the server administration stuff. And advertising work like this. This is advertising work. Fill up my servers with players having fun in this way that I just showed you. Look at all this stuff that they built. Look at all of these units. It's so large. It's the largest Mindustry experience in multiplayer you can have, if you're good at it. But you too can become good at it by watching other people play and then doing what they do and figuring out why. And you don't have to worry about, like, a game company ruining it. One guy could ruin it, but not a game company. I don't have a profit motive. See you later.